Alright, yeah, hey. Okay. This is kind of related to my previous video. I was thinking about just adding it all together, but I don't know. I don't like making long videos because I don't like watching long videos generally. So, um, anywho, as you know, free trade. You're trading between economies. Blah 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 blah. And then in my last video, I was ranting about how free trade sucks and it's crazy. Um, Here's another little thing about it. Uh, Capitalism can only work if it's regulated. Okay? So, here in America, and I'm pretty sure it's basically the same in every country that has a capitalist system, um, it used to be that we have labor laws, we have environmental laws, we have all sorts of regulations on capital. Um, and pretty heavy. Well, we used to have heavy tax in the 1950s, considered the golden age of capitalism. We had massive taxation on businesses and individuals and stuff. I believe it was something like 70 or 90%. It was really high taxation. Something that would just never pass today, but it was high, really high. Um, it's high. Uh, But anyhow, that was pretty much the golden age of capitalism. Our economy was growing like crazy. Everything was going pretty well. Um, and that was with really high taxation. And we saw Social Security and all that jazz. Um, but as you start moving up, in the uh, epochs or eras or whatever, we started opening up trade with other countries. Um, in the 70s, we started opening up trade and negotiations and stuff with China, all that, and which led to China becoming what China is today, ironically. uh, and we start passing all sorts of trade agreements and loosening up regulations and the laws that preventing corporations from doing crazy stuff. But more important than even that is allowing capital flight. We went from a place where we did not allow this. So what I'm calling state capitalism, state capitalism, where capitalism is under the control of the state. So the state says you can't do this, you can't do that, but other than that, go ahead and make your profits. Um, so under that type of rule, you can control you can control capitalism. But we've entered a world of stateless capitalism. Now there's still states, but they don't matter. I mean, despite the military supremacy of my country, if General or Ford or whatever, General Electric or Ford, decide to close a factory and go to uh, probably Colombia soon when we get that agreement in, but go to Mexico or open up a factory up in China, we can't do anything about it. Because they have the right to leave because we eliminated all the laws that prevented them from leaving. So it's just like, bye jobs, bye. I mean, and the crazy thing about it is with this new arrangement, no nation can pass any type of labor laws or any type of restrictions because they could just leave and go to some other country that doesn't have those labor laws or protections. So the incentive is not to have labor laws, not to have high pay, not to have anything of value. So, I mean, here in America, we used to have, we used to have a middle class. We really don't anymore. Where I live, people that used to be middle class, they were making $40,000 a year, or some of them made 50. I don't really know anybody who made more than that, but I mean they were making a good living, enough to buy a house, enough to own a couple cars, random consumer goods and all that jazz, and more importantly, they could buy a house, which is the American dream. Home ownership. You own your home, so you don't have to pay rent forever, and eventually you don't In retirement, you can just live in your house and just pay property taxes, which is my dream, but I don't make enough money to do that. But anyhow, all these people that used to make that amount of money, I don't. They're gone. No, none of them make that money. In fact, most of them are foreclosing on their houses, including a lot of my family members. Uh, yeah. So anyhow, yeah, international capitalism is flipping crazy because it's not regulated, and you can't regulate it because there's no authority that encompasses the entire world um, that could regulate that type of thing in international commerce. Nations get together and they're all, let's agree on this, but really, I mean, when a bunch of nation states agree on something, it's not really binding or enforceable. Half time, most countries just kind of ignore laws and well, hey, we ignore all sorts of international laws. Just go around with our navy and blow the crap out of stuff. But anyhow, um, yeah, I mean, international capital's crazy. So, by the way, I have no solutions. I don't know what to do about that, other than getting rid of free trade agreements and implementing a 90% tax again. um, in fact, I can't even really think of a solution. World government, but I don't know. That doesn't sound all that great. It's like the United Federation of Planets, but that's probably not going to happen. It'll probably be some totalitarian fascist nightmare state. But oh well, what are you going to do?